Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.
Sprint Ride Option Podcast.
It is 5:37 on September 17th. We are live here, Sprint Ride Option Podcast. A little later than usual, but that's okay because Jason Aponte is the hardest working man on 49ers Twitter. He's been traveling all day. He is in Philadelphia. Some would say the city of brotherly love. Other would say the place. The San Francisco 49ers are playing a football game on Sunday. Jason, how was your day of travel? I thought it was like a 15-minute drive from Jersey to Philly. Am I just wrong?
No, it's really close actually. It's about like 90 minutes, so I wouldn't say it's that far, but I mean it's not as far as I made it all seem. The story is way longer, and that's something that we'll talk about offline.
It's Kyle. I notice you all the time. Stop it. It is what it is. Jason. He works hard. He's in Philadelphia, and there's a reason he's in Philadelphia. He's doing more than just watching the Niners, and we'll talk about that at the end. But we are here to talk about the 49ers versus the Philadelphia Eagles, a game that, I don't know, it could be fun. I guess every game could be fun in theory, right? This game could be fun. One Niner fans are hoping is not stressful because when you rank the teams, going into the NFL season, because obviously there's a lot of change throughout the season, the Eagles are probably on the lower half of the quality of teams the Niners could face. And this is a game that Niner fans definitely said, hey, they're going to be 2-0 going into the Packer game week 3. And the Eagles are one of those two teams. I don't know what I'm saying at this point, Jason. But what is your whole, before we dive into what the Eagles are, what are your vibes going into this game after what we saw the Niners do to the Lions and what we saw the Eagles do to the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this game is going to present some challenges for the 49ers, and that has little to do with what happened in week 1. It's not like, hey, oh my gosh, this is what happened at the end of week 1. Now they need to be worried about Philly. I think that Philly, the way that they run their offense, they have the things that the 49ers have struggled to contain. Pretty much the NFL has struggled to contain: mobile quarterbacks, good receivers. So I think that it presents a challenge, and I think that it's going to be a good wake-up call because the 49ers' next test is going to have, Davante Adams and some good pass catches and an amazing quarterback. So, week to week, this league changes, and you don't want to overreact to week 1. Just, a team doesn't have to be better roster-wise to present challenges to your team and could walk away with a win. So, based on what I saw in week 1, doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the Eagles are, but what they do present is a challenge, and I'm excited to see the 49ers, how they're going to attack this.
Yeah, and talking about what the Eagles looked like in week 1, just in case you didn't get a chance to see the Eagles versus Falcons. The Eagles beat the Falcons 32-6. It was 15-6 at halftime. The Eagles defense shut down the Falcons in the second half. Just an idea of what they did: 31 rush attempts to 35 pass attempts. That offense is led by Jalen Hurts, who I believe his second year now. I feel like he's been in the league for forever, but I also feel like he hasn't. His second year, he had those 35 pass attempts, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. The thing Niner fans are probably most worried about, though, is 7 rushes for 62 yards. Miles Sanders led the way in the run game for the Eagles, 15 carries, 74 yards. Probably the most, let's say, familiar name on this Eagles offense at this point. I think he's been Zach Ertz exists. Devonta Smith, 8 targets. Jalen Reagor, 6 targets. Dallas Goedert, 5 targets. Zach Ertz, 2. So not too many weapons that are going to terrify you, but they're young. So we'll see what they can be. Dallas Goedert, probably the one that's most concerning, Jason. Just because Reagor and Smith are still relatively young. They're new to the league. Goedert feels like maybe the biggest name there. Am I way wrong on that? Tell me I'm wrong, please.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think that it's an interesting position because, as you saw last week, TJ Hockenson lit the 49ers up. They didn't seem to have a plan where they had someone who was watching Hockenson, which, if you're asking me, and I'm D'Amico Ryans, I would have had Fred Warner doing that. But it's going to be very interesting to figure out what linebackers are going to be lined up against who. Are they just going to take Fred and put him on Goddard? Are they going to have him on Ertz, who's strictly a receiving tight end? But Devonta Smith and Jalen Reagor present really good challenges for this secondary, which we've kind of found out is going to be depleted. We found out today that Emmanuel Moseley is going to be doubtful on Sunday. Meaning, in my opinion, it's going to be De'Amon Lenore on one side, or either Josh Norman or Drake Kirkpatrick, or even Dante Johnson. So I think we're gonna find out a lot about what this defense can do to stop those things. But with pass rush, with containing Jalen Hurts in the pocket, and Dee Ford being there is going to be really big because he wasn't there last year. I mean, he played in week 1, but he's fast enough to keep mobile quarterbacks or chase them down and just keep them in his sights. So it's going to be interesting to see how these cornerbacks do and what the plan is. This is what I'm really trying to, focus in on. What is DeMeco Ryans going to do to try to change what has been seemingly a struggle for not only the 49ers, everybody in the NFL to stop mobile quarterbacks.
And it's beautiful you say that, because if we're going off what we did last week, Jason, I got 3 matchups that I focused on a little bit this week, seeing what the Eagles do. And that is the first matchup I have, DeMeco Ryans against Jalen Hurts. We know the Niners defense in the Robert Saleh era were not great against mobile quarterbacks that present more than just an arm. We get to see it 2 times a year with Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. They've been given fits. I mean, even in the Eagles game last year, Carson Wentz gave them issues, and I don't even consider him too mobile of a quarterback. He can move a little better than some. But yeah, that's the biggest concern for me in this game. And something I wanted to read to you. Matt Barrows wrote an article for The Athletic, and he opened up the article with, in previous seasons, the 49ers have either used players who weren't particularly mobile, Beathard and Mullins, or who weren't even passers, Richie James, to impersonate running quarterbacks in practice. This year, they've got a ringer, and then he goes on to talk about how Trey Lance is a scout team quarterback and how that might change things for the 49ers, because when Richie James goes into quarterback, in practices last week or last season, you probably know it's not going to be a pass play because just what it is. So do you believe in this idea of having Trey Lance, not just on the team, but having him on the scout team, can help the 49ers in this thought that they can't stop mobile quarterbacks?
I mean, Kyle Shanahan is playing 4D chess. You send all those first-round picks so you can have someone on your scout team, and that's it. I mean, you guys, the mind games that Kyle Shanahan is playing with everybody, no, it definitely will help. And for those reasons that you pointed out, right? Trey Lance can actually throw the ball. That they're just going to be basically what was happening with Richie James. They were just running plays that just looked like what they were going to see, but there was never really any threat. Now Trey Lance can actually do that. Actually won Scout Team Player of the Week for the offensive side today. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it's going to help. It should help. And hopefully, the problem is everything was go, go, go with Robert Saleh, right? Everything's go, 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 no read, no react. And I think that there's going to be a little bit more of that. And the 49ers are going to need to keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket because he was doing most of his damage against a bad Atlanta team outside of the pocket down the field.
Yeah, and I have the pass chart up. The one thing that concerns me is a lot of his throws are within 10 yards. So it's a lot of quick throws. He had a lot from behind the line of scrimmage as well. That's the one thing that worries me, because the one thing, because we've already talked about the secondary issues with Verrett being hurt and Mosley being hurt. So this is just going to kind of be a ragtag thing, is the pass rush. If teams are going to go quick throws, the pass rush isn't going to be as big of a thing to worry about, just because, they're not going to have enough time to get upfield. So there's going to be a lot of pressure, I think, on Diamador Lenore and whoever the hell the second one is. I think it's going to be Josh Norman.
I think so too.
That's my guess. I could be way wrong. We had Dante Johnson last week as the guess, and we weren't right there.
Right.
That can be concerning. I feel, obviously, very small sample size. I feel pretty good with Diamador Lenore as the cornerback one, just because he hasn't done anything to say we should be worried about him yet, but he also hasn't had a lot of time. It's that second cornerback, and also even, who's going to guard Dallas Goedert, because TJ Hawkinson had a lot of opportunities and he had a pretty good game. So it's going to be interesting to see how DeMeco Ryans attacks this offense, because it is a mobile quarterback for the first time in 2021, and it's something that's caused concern.
Yeah, and is it going to be, strictly Fred while they're playing zone everywhere else on Goddard? Is it going to be Tart? Is it going to be Ward? What are they going to do? They have so many options, and that's what really makes it interesting. So there really shouldn't be an excuse as to why somebody's running around like that, unless, Jalen Hurts is making plays all wild like he was in this game. So this is really a good test out of the gate. And this is another thing I wanted to point out, right? When the schedule comes out, and you were talking about the Eagles being on the bottom half of, the league, and that's why it's sometimes, well, not sometimes, I think it's most of the time silly to just say, oh, win, 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 right? So after one win, right, you now see what they present, and maybe that's when you see what they've implemented and how Sirianni's first offensive game went. Now you kind of see, okay, maybe this isn't a win. I mean, I think it's going to be a win. Spoiler alert, it'll be a win, I think, but it's going to be a much closer game than people anticipate. I'm sticking to what I said in week one. Like I said, the result that I got in week one, it wasn't what I thought. I got to that result, but it wasn't a good process. But I feel like the Eagles actually present a lot of challenges, especially with their front four and their secondary. Their secondary is really stacked. Where you need to attack them is the linebackers. You need to find ways to get George Kittle on these linebackers and attack that. And I think that that's the guy that I'm looking to have a really big game in this game. I think that this is one of those George Kittle games where he gets 10, 11, 12 targets because Kyle Shanahan is going to make an emphasis to attack these linebackers and get him into space.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Eagles front four. That's another key. Jason, we somehow, you know what I'm going to say before I say it. It's really amazing to me. Another matchup I had, not just the front four, and I see Brian asking about who's going to line up across from Mike McGlinchey. It looks like it'll be Josh Sweat. That's my opinion. Brandon Graham probably rotate to that side as well. But I didn't just think about the front four. I was thinking about the interior guys. The Eagles rotated 4 guys in that defensive tackle position last week. Fletcher Cox only played 57% of the snaps. That was the highest snap count for an Eagles defender. Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, and Hassan Ridgeway, they rotated majority of them. Hargrave and Ridgeway both had pretty good games. They had 3 sacks between the two of them, 2 going to Hargrave, 1 going to Ridgeway, 3 quarterback hits for each, 3 tackles for loss between the two of them. Going up against the interior of the Niners offensive line, Laken Tomlinson, Alex Mack, and Daniel Brunskill. And the Niners, I thought the offensive line was amazing last week. I think they only allowed 2 pressures, 1 coming from the interior. This is a matchup because we're talking about the running game already, right? Raheem Mostert's going to be out for the season. So now it's going to be Elijah Mitchell. It's going to be Trey Sermon. It's going to be guys like that. This battle, because I think the line, I know this isn't even a thing. I know the Eagles front 4 is better than the Lions front 4. That's just what it is. So this will be a tougher battle because I thought Tomlinson was fine. I thought Brunskill was fine. Alex Mack was okay. He wasn't amazing, but he obviously wasn't bad. So this will be the first real test for this quote unquote new offensive line for the 49ers, the Alex Mack front and center, and see what this interior can do against a very good interior defensive line for the Eagles.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's really what it's about, right? The offensive line as a whole in week 1, I thought they did a great job. But you're right. The test is going to be a lot different. I'm interested to see what Laken Tomlinson is going to do with Fletcher Cox, because if he kicks inside, that, like Atlanta, when I watched Atlanta's game, it's either one of 2 things or both. 1, they just forgot that Fletcher Cox was on the field and didn't block him, or 2, didn't try to block him at all. But he was dominating. And I remember one rep at I believe when the Falcons were in red zone, Matt Ryan literally has Mike Davis trying to block Fletcher Cox coming through. It didn't go well. It didn't go well, as you imagine. Mike Davis got tossed out the club and forced Matt Ryan to make a bad throw. So Fletcher Cox has a chance to blow things up. As you know, the interior offensive line is where bad things happen. Sorry, 49er fans, didn't want to bring that up. But yes, this front 4 against this offensive line is a much different test. And I want to see what they're going to do because Fletcher Cox is incredible. He's a dog. I just want to see how they're going to handle this and have they changed things up for it.
Yeah, and the Falcons offensive line is nowhere we it's kind of a take and give, because what we see is what the Niners did against the Lions, what the Eagles did against the Falcons, and the Eagles took care of the Falcons how they should have. Even though the Falcons were favorites, I don't think there was ever a chance the Falcons were going to beat the Eagles. I think the Falcons are probably the worst team in the NFL. The Falcons offensive line is significantly worse than the 49ers. So is that going to affect things? Yeah, absolutely. The thing that I noticed, and obviously PFF grades are very subjective and things change.
What a week about PFF, right?
Yeah, I know, right? But the run defense for Hargrave and Josh Sweat, not good. Sweat had a 56.6 run grade. Hargrave had a 48.1. As I said, all of it's subjective. Please don't yell at me for using PFF. I'm sorry. I know some people don't like it. Not going to name names. But the Niners the Niners ability to run the ball is very good. And that's definitely something that if Kyle Shanahan saw it, you can expect a lot of runs to that side because Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, both very good. They're both very good in the run game. Jason froze. There he is. He's back. And so, I think this is going to be a better situation for the Niners than the Falcons because, spoiler alert, Jason Aponte, the San Francisco 49ers are better than the Atlanta Falcons. Like, I don't know who needed to hear that. I don't know if that's something even needed to be said.
Someone did.
So like, yes, like my big worry, and this one might sound weird, is to me, the Lions and Falcons are in the same category of quality, right? Like if we had percentile or tiering the NFL teams, the Lions and Falcons are probably going to be in the same area. The Niners struggled a little bit against the Lions, and we're not going to overreact to the last 2 minutes, but if you look at that, I mean, they didn't struggle. That's a lie. I just lied to everybody. The Niners whooped the Lions until the final 2 minutes, but like, I know we talked about the final 2 minutes being ignored, but does that raise any concern to see that the Niners did, while it was late, have struggles against the Lions? And the Eagles kind of went into Atlanta and took care of business as they should. Is that something that should concern us at all? Or are we just like, hey, it's 1 week. We got it. We can't worry about that.
No, and then when you look back at that Lions game too, it was a special set of circumstances, right? And it's literally anything that could have gone wrong went wrong there. I don't expect that to happen again. I think it was just kind of fluky more than anything. And here's another thing. I'm going to name 2 coaches, Chip Kelly, Jim Tomsula. What did they do in week 1 of their first game that they ever coached as the 49ers?
Oh, the best 2 games in Niners history, both 1-0.
They blew out a team, and then what happened? They barely won games after that. So this could be an entirely type of thing with the Eagles, where the Eagles go in and they run roughshod on a bad team, but they're not the team that you think they are. So week 1 is silly. It's weird. It's wild. Every single game was pretty much down to the wire that was nationally televised. And then now it carried over into Thursday Night Football. So again, you have concerns because you know what the challenges they present. But the week 1 sometimes isn't the indicator of how a team's going to go or if that's the team that they are. So yes, the Falcons are bad. The Lions are bad. But again, we talked about it after the Lions game. There's a world where the Lions never get that close in another game for the rest of the year, and you would not be surprised. So was it week 1 or is this the team they are? That's what we're going to find out. I'm kind of betting a little bit more that the Eagles aren't that team that they were in week 1. I think that they came out with a great game plan. I think that Falcons team is very bad, like you talked about. And I think that Jalen Hurts just, presented problems because it wasn't like he was throwing it down the field on the run or anything like that. Like you said, everything was in front. He was just making more things happen with his legs and letting guys get open. That's the problem. If he's allowed to get out of the pocket and cornerbacks have to cover 4 or 5 seconds, any corner would struggle with that. But now that you're down Jason Verrett and Emmanuel Mosley, now that becomes more of a concern. Can you stay with Devontae Smith? He's very fast. Can you stay with Jalen Reagor? He's fast as well. So that's the part that is a little tricky. But I'm willing to bet more that the Eagles aren't that team that we saw in week 1 that ran roughshod all over them. I just think that that's just a week 1 thing. And we'll find out pretty quickly on Sunday.
Yeah, and you mentioned the injuries. I'm just going to touch on what the Niners' injuries are right now because it is a little bit of a list. Dre Greenlaw is out. Expect Azeez Al-Shaair to step in. And I thought Azeez Al-Shaair had a better week 1 than Dre Greenlaw. Watching the tape, hate to be that guy. Hi, Rich. A lot of the big runs the Lions had, it was Dre Greenlaw being out of position. It was his spot, things like that. I like Azeez Al-Shaair better in that situation. Pass coverage might hurt a bit. We'll see how that goes. Emmanuel Mosley doubtful. Eric Armstead doubtful. Javon. I apologize. I misread the sentence. Mosley's the only one doubtful. Armstead, Kinlaw, Marcel Harris, who's a linebacker, got to get used to that sentence, are questionable. And then obviously Verrett is out. And then the Eagles injury report is pretty much non-existent. Zach Ertz, Brandon Brooks, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, they're all set to play despite missing practice. Do we have is this
shout out? No.
Yes.
Shout out to my guy Joe. I was on his show. We broke it down and everything as well.
Beautiful.
Joe Castro, Philly the podcast. Make sure you guys check that out and make sure you guys subscribe to his channel as well too. I'm in your town, Joe. We out here in enemy territory. So
I'm in Sacramento. I'm not in Philadelphia. So yeah, I mean, The only thing that concerns me about this game, and we said it a million times, we don't need to talk about it, is Jalen Hurts' ability to move, and that's what it is. And I'm excited. I think that's what makes this game so exciting is DeMeco Ryans' first opportunity at it. It's going to be a fun game. I think this is going to be a fun game. And I since I believe you said his name was Joe. I don't know his name personally. I apologize if it isn't.
Yeah.
I when they're in Philadelphia, it instantly makes me think of that Jim Harbaugh, the first like stamp of Jim Harbaugh, the Justin Smith forced fumble at the end of the game when the Eagles were the dream team. Fun things like that. So yeah, I don't know, something about Philadelphia. They also have you ever seen the movie? And this is me just going way off course, Jason. The garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon. Have you ever seen that movie?
Never.
It's a Disney movie. I think you can only find it on YouTube. It's Tony Danza. He's a garbage man, and the Eagles are so desperate at getting a kicker, they get Tony Danza as a kicker who's a garbage man. It's a phenomenal Disney movie. He does, and then like they throw in a weird like family storyline where he cheats on his wife. Maybe he becomes the biggest celebrity in Philadelphia.
Forget that. Did the Eagles pick a person off the street who used to pick up garbage, and was he successful as a kicker?
Yes, he actually.
Oh, so you can pick up garbage men, and they'll be kickers. Man, I gotta see this movie. Oh my goodness! Listen, draft day was nothing like anything that actually happens in the NFL. But that's how you pick up kickers. And you go find a garbage man and say, let's get out there, Tony Danza. You make your kicks, okay?
I should have thought this through. I apologize.
You definitely just made my point, and I love you for that, honestly. Let's take this donation real quick.
Napa, we appreciate it. Any info on Sherman? I know they reached out to him last week. The move ended up being Dre Kirkpatrick, who might get time this week. Who knows? But Sherman essentially said, hey, we have his phone number. So take that as you may. We might see Sherman later in the year. We might not. Yeah,
it's a Disney movie, but Disney movies are reality.
Yeah, Disney movies. Yeah, dude. Frozen's pretty much an autobiography of a princess.
Angels in the Outfield. Wait a minute, that definitely happened to the California Angels, and Danny Glover was their manager. I remember it clearly.
Yeah, I remember
Matthew McConaughey was their center fielder. I remember that clearly, and that definitely happened in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
We've completely gone off the rails.
We're off the rail. I made the mistake of mentioning a movie, and now we're here. Jason, I had one more matchup I wanted to talk about because it does go into the DeMeco Ryans thing, and it just kind of it's based off of one game. It's Nick Bosa against Jordan Mailata. Mailata had a very good game against, and I apologize if I'm butchering it. I should have looked up the pronunciation. And I'm sorry that I didn't. He allowed 2 pressures on 39 pass block snaps against the Falcons, and obviously the Falcons defensive line doesn't feature Nick Bosa. So I think that's going to be a matchup because I think if Nick Bosa can do what he can do, and this belief that Trey Lance is, a good scout team quarterback, and I just think that was the matchup to watch on the 49ers defensive side of the ball because Mailata had a pretty big extension. The Eagles do believe in him, so he is their guy. He's their blindside protector for Jalen Hurts. We'll see what Bosa can do, and that was my third and final matchup I really wanted to focus on because I think if the Niners have success against Jalen Hurts and getting to him and creating that pressure, it's going to be from Nick Bosa's side.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Mailata is that he was a rugby player, never played football before either, too, and the Eagles brought him in. I thought that was really cool as a story as well, too. But, yeah, I think that the offensive line for the Eagles is really good, actually. Jason Kelce's really good. Lane Johnson's really good. And Mailata actually played well in his first game. So this is going to be a nice sort of challenge for them. I don't think that their offensive line might be as good as the Lions when it's fully healthy. Obviously, Taylor Decker wasn't there. But it's going to be an interesting, it's good because it feels like Nick Bosa is ramping up, but he's only getting better with more reps and more snaps. So I'm interested to see how that plays out as well, too. So, that's an interesting point about Mailata because, like I said, he played rugby. And, and anybody who has never heard of him before, look him up on rugby and watch him manhandle little people trying to tackle him while he's playing rugby, like literally tossing them out of the club with his left arm and right arm. Like he's a giant man.
Yeah, no. So I think to me that's the matchup that the Niners really want to win, just because it is Nick Bosa, and he's going to be the one getting majority of the downs. I'm intrigued because man, it was I did watch the tape and like seeing how they used Ebukam and Bosa together. That was fun, especially on that last play of the game. And
That was a nice stunt. That was a beautiful stunt.
Beautiful
They called
stunt.
it perfectly.
And so like, and even too, like just in general, man, if we're talking about a 49er game, Nick Bosa is the guy to watch in general on defense. I think he's the most entertaining guy to watch, other than maybe Fred Warner. So that's something I think that should be watched as well. And I think if Nick Bosa gets like 2 sacks, I'm feeling pretty good. Obviously, we want to see what D Ford does too. Obviously, there's more to the pass rush than just Nick Bosa, but Bosa is going to be the constant because we're going to see what we saw out of D Ford. He's only going to get a handful of snaps every game. And that's what it is. You know, it's just until they feel he's 100% to get more snaps, which I still, even if he's 100%, I don't think it's something they need to rush. So I'm really intrigued to see what it really just stems to. Yeah, dude, that's it. That is the movie right there for the people who aren't at home or aren't watching the live stream. Jason just pulled up a screen cap of the poster for the garbage picking.
Shout out to Ryo. He sent it on Twitter, and it's actually there. Dude, that's how you get a kicker. That's how you get a kicker. That's what that movie's about.
Here's a fun little fact. So the movie, the Eagles aren't good, which is why they're picking up. But the last game of the season's against the Cowboys. Because I don't know, the Cowboys are the Eagles' rival and all that stuff.
1-star movie.
It's a horror. So the only way I found it's not even on Disney Plus, Jason. It's on YouTube, and the only way you could watch it through YouTube is it's a recording of like a VHS tape. So like it's really nostalgic because you get like, you remember like the snow lines going through. Yeah. Anyways, the Eagles win the final game of the season against the Cowboys because the Cowboys blew a 28-3 lead.
What?
Yeah, I'm not even joking. The score was 28-3. And then Tony Danza comes out, and spoiler alert, guys, it's a Disney movie. I don't think it's when Tony Danza hits the game-winning kick.
Oh, man.
Spoilers.
Listen, I'll tell you this. We're going to get back to the 49ers talk, but when I'm done with this, I'm not watching film. I'm going to watch this movie, and I'm going to find it and make sure I get it on there.
I'll send you the link. All
right. One more thing I wanted to talk about, and I think we should talk about.
Yes.
It has something to do with Philly and, the Niners, but the Brandon Ayuk saga. Can we share some thoughts? Because everyone's going crazy. And then we could talk about, and this is another good one right after that. So we can talk about both these things as well too. Did Elijah Mitchell outplay Trey Sermon in training camp? Just give us a sec. We'll get to that. We'll talk about that right after. Andrew, thoughts on Brandon Ayuk and what is going on right now?
People just need to relax. To me, I think Kyle Shanahan isn't going to give anything in depth. I know people, what was the big quote on Monday that he said he needs to go out and outperform other players to get more time? To me, I think people have this thought, and Jason, we've talked about it, the doghouse. I don't think he's in the doghouse. I don't think that's at all what the case is. I think that is Kyle Shanahan using a style of coaching that's to try and motivate Ayuk to be better, whatever it may be, because I don't know what's going on. I'm going to lean more towards the thought that his hamstring wasn't feeling 100%. And yes, you could say, hey, he was on the field. Maybe he was on the field for a reason, just the idea that he's out there. Maybe they didn't feel comfortable enough with him getting the ball, but they felt good enough with him being out there just to, give the Lions something to think about. I'm not ready to say he's in the doghouse yet. I'm going to lean towards the belief of what is the hamstring injury. That's my quick and dirty thought on it. I obviously we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens because if we have another case of he doesn't get a lot of snaps and he doesn't get a lot of looks, then there might be more of a conversation. But as Javi Vega would say, if he has a 10 reception game, as he's tweeted about 40 times this week, what are we even talking about here?
Yeah.
That's my kind of quick and dirty thought on it. I don't want to dive too deep into it because I just think it's right now it's a non-story until it is.
Yeah, and Kyle talked about him not being in the doghouse. Literally used those words. McDaniel said that he had a great week, and yeah, I think that it is a little bit of the injury stuff, and it is a little bit that he did taper off at the end of camp. He started out like a madman, and then Deebo Samuel was the one consistently who was the best receiver on the field every single day. So yeah, it's a little bit about that, and I think that Brandon Ayuk is learning a little bit that don't ever get complacent, and that's fine. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Brandon Ayuk was not involved at all in this game. And also the combination of the fact that Trent Sherfield was so good and was playing like a man with his hair on fire, like the entire camp. And he was just so good. I mean, and that's another way that you can bring in Ayuk and bring him along slowly because Trent Sherfield has earned that. So, yeah, I don't think it's really too much of a story, but it is something that has been lighting up 49ers Twitter. And we're going to find out pretty quickly week 2 what's going to be happening. I would be shocked if Brandon Ayuk wasn't out there. Now, to this point right here, did Elijah Mitchell outplay Trey Sermon in training camp? See, this is weird, right? This is the one that I like. All right, I'm going to try to pick this one apart because I was there for a large majority of camp, and Trey Sermon was running with the ones. When Raheem Mostert wasn't there, it was him. Elijah Mitchell was hurt in camp. Elijah Mitchell didn't play until the final playoff, the preseason game, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, he didn't even play against Kansas City, and he didn't play in the second game. He played in the third game. So it's hard for me to believe that Elijah Mitchell outplayed Trey Sermon when he wasn't even really in camp. Now, what? We're impressed with Elijah Mitchell because he's the best receiving back not named Kyle Juszczyk on this team. I will die on that hill. But at the same time, Trey Sermon was getting those reps, and people could say whatever they want about him looking slow, maybe not explosive. That's fine. But I don't know, for my money, realistically, how you could have watched all those practices and walked away and say, man, Elijah Mitchell's outplaying Trey Sermon. And I don't think that was the case, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Jason, you were at training camp. I wasn't, so I can't speak on the training camp, but I will say in terms of what I saw in the preseason, Elijah Mitchell probably outplayed Trey Sermon, but that's because Elijah Mitchell outplayed a lot of running backs in the league. He did finish the preseason with the most rushing yards, right? That was what was
Hasty.
that?
Hasty.
Oh, Hasty. God, I got him mixed up. I'm sorry. So I'm just gonna ignore the last 30 seconds. I didn't say anything. I wasn't at camp, Jason. I can't say anything. The one thing I do want to say, the last thing on the Ayuk thing, you know, we have a comment here from Brian Boucher, which is a great last name. Waterboy, great movie. Talking about movies today. You know, Ayuk in about 4 games has more receptions than Sherfield in his career. To me, I don't even think it's about Ayuk outplaying Sherfield, man, because there's a world where all 3 of them are on the field at the same time. So I don't think it's necessarily about Ayuk versus Sherfield. I do think, and I know this might contradict a little of what I said. It is definitely, I think there is some Ayuk versus Shanahan at this point. I'm not going to say doghouse situation, but obviously Shanahan is seeing something he's not liking.
Trying to motivate him.
And that it is what it is. You know, things happen like this all the time. And it's just, we live in an age on Twitter where every little report and everybody has an opinion, man. Everybody has an opinion on everything, and we're going to see it. We see it all, man. Like, you know, I have 1,200 followers at this point. My opinion means nothing, but I'm sure there's people out there saying, hey, Andrew Pasquini's opinion on this was this, and people will run with it. I hope you don't do that. Please don't do that. Take Jason's opinions. He knows more than me.
No.
But that's more so my point, you know, is we get this information more frequently than we used to, and I'm not going to lose sleep on it until there's a reason to lose sleep on it. I don't necessarily think this is a Sherfield versus Ayuk thing. This is a Ayuk Shanahan situation, and that's really all there is to it.
Right. And, you know, Kyle Shanahan has ways of motivating. I guess, you know, you can disagree with whatever you want, but this is what it seems like. And it's a good problem, in my opinion. If Trent Sherfield's playing well enough where he can say that he's been doing better than Brandon Ayuk and he deserves more reps, that's great. It just makes the wide receiver room deeper. So, yeah, I think that a lot of 49er fans are just jaded right now or scared. They have PTSD with wide receivers in the first round, i.e. Dante Pettis. I don't think this is the same thing at all. No. Dante Pettis didn't work as hard as he should have. You know, and that was Kyle's guy. I think that's the thing that had people scared, right? Kyle moved up to get Pettis. Kyle moved up to get Ayuk. Mm-hmm. So for him to already be so upset with them or be upset with Ayuk right away, I think that kind of scares people, but I don't think it's that. I think that it's a combination of all those things we mentioned, the injury, Sherfield playing very well, trying to keep him and trying to motivate him as well too. So yeah, it's not a story until it's a story, and I don't think it is yet, but we have to argue about something if we're not arguing about the fact that Eric Armstead had some phantom pressures in, you know, according to PFF. So, yeah, I'm not certain, you know, when it comes to that, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm not too worried about it. As I said, I don't think it's a talking point yet for this podcast to really dive in too deep. We're touching on it now because it is a news thing, but like until Ayuk plays a game where he gets 0 snaps, I don't think it's a conversation point. That's just what it is. Jason, do you have any final thoughts on the Eagles specifically before we give some predictions?
No, I think this is going to be a really good test because the 49ers schedule tightens up. Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals. You have basically 3 of the 4 quarterbacks that you're going to be seeing are mobile. Aaron Rodgers can move too. So show us now that you can take care of at least Jalen Hurts now. Make us feel better about, because what we saw in week 1 from Arizona, good Lord, if Kyler Murray's doing that and I mean, he made some unbelievable throws. If you guys didn't think it was real, it's real. And I think Cliff Kingsbury and all them heard me slandering them, because I might be having to eat a lot of crow when it comes to that. So I think that this is going to be a great test. I need them to show it, because they're going to have to do it back-to-back weeks before a bye week. So let's see. But I think that the 49ers are going to come away with this one, and we can get to the predictions.
Beautiful. And before we get to the predictions, Jason, I just want to remind everybody that our friends at Manscaped, the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming, want you to shave your pubes with the Tom Brady of ball trimmers, the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. We ask you to choose Manscaped. 2 million men worldwide trust them. So join the movement with our exclusive offer by using the code SPRINTRIGHT at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. The world is starting to open, and the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is here to help you get ready. Inside, you'll find their brand new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, plus 2 free gifts, Performance Boxer Briefs, and the Shed Travel Bag. Jason and I love the Boxer Briefs. They're amazing. The brand new Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take your defense to the next level. This 4th generation trimmer features cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It also has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock, and gives you the ability to turn the 4000K spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. The package also includes the Weed Whacker to chop up your worst weeds, top in both your nose and your ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360 rotary dual blade system. After shaving your pubes, show them some love with Manscaped's liquid formulations, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner. They are the key to feeling victorious and taking home the Super Bowl this year. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SPRINTRIGHT at manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SPRINTRIGHT at manscaped.com. Take your ball defense to the promised land with Manscaped. Go visit today and use that code SPRINTRIGHT. Jason, give me your prediction. And while you're giving the prediction, I'll tell you what the spread is, because I realized I forgot to do that last week because we're a big spread podcast, Jason.
Yeah, I think that the 49ers win a close game. I think that it's going to be 28-24, something in that line, in that vein. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to operate this offense the way that he did in week 1, which was efficient. And if he plays like that, then the 49ers have a very good chance to win. Attack these linebackers. Don't allow this front four to get upfield on Jimmy Garoppolo. And yes, I believe that the Eagles present a challenge, and I think that this game is going to be a lot closer than people believe. I believe the spread is started at 4.5. I don't know what it's at now, if there's any sort of movement. I think they had the 49ers at 4.5, I believe. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see about that. I think that the if you're asking me, I think that it's going to be a 4-point game. So I take with that wherever you will.
Odds currently set at 49ers -3, so the money's been on the Eagles, moving that a little closer.
Yep.
Over under 49.5. I'm going to take 49ers 31, Eagles 21. I think, to me, I think the skill difference between these two teams, I think there is a skill gap. I expect Jimmy Garoppolo to come out and have another good game. That's my thing. I really believe what we saw last week wasn't a mirage. I think it's more of a trend. I think that offensive line is back to where it is. And Jimmy Garoppolo is 100% healthy, Jason Aponte. That's important. But I do think we see Trey Lance a little more. I think as the season goes on, we're going to see it used a little more. I think, you know, as I said in the post game recap we had last week for the Lions, I think Shanahan is figuring out when to use him. I think we're going to see more situations. I'm going to say Trey Lance gets double-digit snaps. Is that a hot take? I don't know if it is. I'm going to say double digits. That's my guess. But I still think Garoppolo gets majority of the playing time. I think Elijah Mitchell builds off his good week 1. Do I think he gets triple digits in rushing yards? I don't know. Trey Sermon, I'm excited to see him. But yeah, I think the Niners defense creates enough pressure on Jalen Hurts to keep him from getting away. And I think the aggressiveness that we kind of think we're going to get from DeMeco Ryans is going to help them a little bit. And I think this is the year Jason, I've said it last year. I'll say it again this year. This is the year they figure out mobile quarterbacks, and it starts with Jalen Hurts. Give me 31-21. The San Francisco 49ers take it home.
I like it. Well, the 49ers are going to be 2-0 then. It looks like if we have our way, both of us, and then home opener, which is going to be electric, which means I'll get to see you, Andrew, right after that next week. It's going to be electric. I can't wait.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna hang out next Saturday in Santa Clara. Real quick, do we want to tell them about the plan for Sunday yet? Is we not going to talk about that yet?
Go for it.
Okay, yeah. So Sunday, Jason Aponte went live after the Lions game. He's going to do it again, and I'm going to be his guest because it's non-canonical to the Sprint Right Option podcast. I've already decided I know what the name is. It's going to be called Jason and Andrew Talk About the 49ers.
I love it. Gold.
So if you guys are watching, if you're listening to this podcast in order, what happened Sunday directly after the Eagles game is non-canonical. Do not worry about it.
Brad, I swear, Brad. I swear.
We're getting pizza, dude. We're getting pizza.
I'm not getting that.
Me, you, Brad, and Jordan, we're gonna get pizza. Because we're gonna hang out Saturday, and we might be doing a Sprint Red Option podcast together next Saturday. We'll see how that works. We'll see how that plans. We might have a guest. Kind of teased it on the timeline because we know a certain Packers writer that is a friend of the pod. So we'll see if we can get him on, be a little grumpy and yell a little bit. We love him for that, but we won't say that name yet until we know for sure we're going to have him. And then also, actually, real quick before we leave, you are in Philadelphia for specific reasons. Do you want to throw out what you're doing this week? Because I know you have a fun little weekend planned.
Yeah, I mean, so for tomorrow, a little bit of sightseeing. So I will be at the 49ers Invasion for a little while. And also anybody who's in Philly, pull up to John Chapman's Rush road trip. We're going to be at the Drinkers Pub in Philadelphia. Me, Eric Crocker, John Chapman, a few other people that you guys really know. And we're going to get our chances to speak and talk about the game as well. Come out, have a beer with us. Hang out, and then Sunday for the tailgate, I will be at John Chapman's tailgate as well. So anybody who's in Philly for the game, come by. Let's have a beer, and let's have some fun, and let's talk some 49ers football. So that's my schedule, and I'm going to be all over the place tomorrow. So we'll see you guys there.
Perfect. So there's what Jason Aponte is doing in Philadelphia. As we said, we will be in Santa Clara next Saturday. Once again, if you want a picture of Jason, just ask me. I'll take it. No problem. I'm going to make that joke until I run it into the ground, guys. Nice. I don't have any final thoughts. I can't think of anything. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Yeah, that's it. That's the last thought I had. We'll see you guys on Sunday for emotional reactions, and then Monday for a normal Sprint Right Option podcast review, because Jason and I we'll see how fired up we are when the Niners beat the Eagles on Sunday. Go Niners.
Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.
Welcome everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.